everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Candid Campbell. I'm your host, Olivia Hoff, and we are joined again by none other than Candid Campbell himself.
Oh, thank you.
So how have you been?
Good, good. And hope everybody is preparing for a good holiday season with Passover and Easter.
Me too. I can't wait for the weekend. Recently, there has been a change to the alcohol policy. So what exactly are the changes?
The changes are pretty much a clarification of things that we're already doing. If you look at them, many of the changes were things like just reaffirming that if you're 21 and you can't purchase alcohol for minors, or that we can't have parties in the residence halls, and just making things clearer.
Yeah.
And there really weren't any major different changes. The one thing we did change that is really to our hazing policy. We went the maximum penalty from a level 2, which is suspension, to a level 1, which is the possibility of expulsion.
Oh, wow.
And we know that hazing is something that we don't want to have, and if, depending on the seriousness, we wanted all the options available to us.
Oh, great. Okay. Now, how often is the policy updated?
Well, we look at it every year. You know, the policy as it exists now really came out of the President's task force, which focused on personal responsibility and safety for our students. And it happened in 2007, the summer of 2007, we got together. And so really, our focus really is on the safety of our community, and lots of things happen. So we look at it every year. We take a look at what we're doing and how it works. We look at any changes in the law, and we update it that way.
Okay, great. So now, how do you decide that changes have to be made?
It really comes from a lot of input from our RAs who have to enforce the policy, the public safety department. We look at what has been going on in the past year, what have been some of the issues, and that's how we make the adjustments.
Oh, okay. Well, recently, last week, we had the big Relay for Life here on campus. That was so nice. I love that whole program. It's for the American Cancer Society, for those of you who don't know, and we raised $50,000.
Yes,
so that was a pretty good turnout. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the event and maybe the importance?
Well, that $50,000 was the amount we raised just at that event. We expect that final number to be higher.
Oh, wow.
Because, you know, last year we raised about $43,000. We ended up at $57,000. So as the credit card receipts come in, and so we hope that number will hit $60,000. It's important. It's for cancer research.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a family in the campus that hasn't had somebody touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So it's very important to us to be able to understand and be part of that and try to, you know, eradicate that horrible disease for families. It's a lot of planning. Heather Fischler and her committee did a wonderful job. The two Lindsays did a wonderful job putting it all together. But what's really nice is the way the community comes together. You have students, you have faculty, you have parents, all coming together to help raise money for this really worthwhile cause. And, you know, it's brought home to us by having speakers of people who are survivors of cancer. We had a student speaker, we had a staff speaker, and talk about their personal stories. And it's a pretty amazing project, and I'm so proud of our community every time we do it.
I am too, and you know, it's a fun event too. It's not even like, you know, it's one of the ones you can go with your friends and have a great time. And I'm really appreciative that we do it on campus. It's just so easy and great to get involved.
It's fun.
So, well, we have, recently the students have gotten emails from you, actually. There is a survey being conducted by the Siena University Research Institute, and we are going to take part in the assessment of service and civic engagement study, which basically means they want to see what kind of community service the students are doing and the institutional structure, you know, if it's helping or hurting or what's going on there. So can you tell us a little bit about that survey?
Sure. We want to improve. Part of our community value statements is that we believe that leadership, real leadership, is derived from service to others. And to try to be true to that value statement, we're looking at how we do community service. And we needed to get a baseline of what's actually happening on the campus. You know, what are we doing in classes? What are we doing in groups and organizations, you know, like Relay for Life and others? So what's our baseline? And is our structure supportive, or is our structure making it harder to do service? So we want to get that baseline, compare ourselves to some other national averages, so we can make improvements in our program.
That's great. Now also, there is an incentive to take this, because the survey is not mandatory. It's you can volunteer to do it. But once you take the survey, you're automatically entered into winning one of 5 $50 Visa gift cards, which I know as a college student I would appreciate a lot. So if anyone, you will see that in your emails and from Dean Campbell, and so take a look at it.
Well, and it's important to us for the future, so really we want students to be part of that.
Oh, great. Okay, well, also on campus we have coming up the University Day, which commemorates Ryder's transformation from a college to a university. So that's a pretty big deal.
It is. It is. It's sort of our birthday party.
Yeah.
It really is a wonderful thing. We give out some awards there for service and some working from there, the Nancy Gray Award. But we also celebrate who we are as a community, and I think all communities need a chance to celebrate. We wind up having a very nice meal in the past. You know, it's always a premium meal, and the faculty and the students and the staff all get together. There's always fun things. We've had mummers in the past. There's lots of things coming in. So it's always a good time to celebrate, you know, that we're Ryder and we are a community.
Oh, great. Now, so I'm sure it takes a lot of planning to plan a big event like that.
It does.
So when do they start planning
Well, they start doing that every year. About the beginning of the year, they plan out what they're trying to do because, you know, lots of information, lots of things. And Nick Barbatti and Dave Keenan and their student staff really spend a lot of time doing that, and they always do a great job. And we also appreciate to Aramark, who you know, really works with us on the menu. I
know I love that catered food, I have to say. So also we have on Ryder, not only do we celebrate things that are going on with the students on campus, but the students that have just gotten admitted. So we have the Admitted Students Days, which kind of it brings students on campus who will be joining us in the fall, and it shows them the kind of the campus and the programs that we have here. So we have an Admitted Students Day approaching. How important are those days to the university?
Well, they're very important to us. You know, these are students who've been admitted. They're obviously students we want to come to Ryder. We feel like they fit into our community. And students at these days are making choices. You know, they're making choices between Ryder and another school. They're also making choices, you know, trying to find out about their financial aid. These days are very important. We want them to understand our community, so we have them meet faculty members. We have them meet students like you, and go and come into the studios and see what they can do. And so it really is a day where, you know, sort of the idea of closing the deal. You know, we want them to come to campus, and so we want to make sure that they understand who we are as a community. Because the most important part of any community is, do you feel like you can belong?
Yeah.
You know, can you fit in? By this time in the game, they know we have good academics. They know that the faculty are good. So students are looking at, you know, how do I fit in? How do I make my mark?
Yeah, I can understand that because I know when I was a prospective student, I came to the Admitted Students Day and I loved the campus. I fell in love with it, and that made my mind up that day.
That's great to hear.
So yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Good.
So also, we students will be seeing advertisements. I know I've seen a few for the 2010 census. So now that's important to make sure that we take part in that because it's important for the funding of the township. It is.
It's important because they get grants and they have money based on the numbers, and the university are part of those numbers. That transforms into public transportation, how much we get for economic development. And so it really is helpful to the township. We're actually going to make it real easy for the students. We have examiners coming in here for the U.S. Census Bureau, and we're actually going to have them, they're going to actually fill out the forms for the students based on our records. So you're not going to have people run into your dorms knocking on the door and that. So they're actually going to come to our records for we have it all in our residence hall files.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to fill out the papers and get it all done without having to bother the students all that much.
I appreciate that. That's great. Thanks. Well, okay, so one of our competition shows here on the Ryder University Networks, Ryder Real Time actually recently won a Telly Award. So that's wonderful.
Great.
I'm proud.
That's great.
So the Ryder Real Time and Candid Campbell are shows that pretty much explain to students what's new on campus. And how important is that?
Well, Nick Barbatti will tell you that his show is very important, and he's been showing me his telly all the time because I haven't gotten one. But I think these shows are important. From my perspective, the reason I like to do this is I want to keep students informed. I want them to hear what's going on, understand if they have questions. You know, like you ask wonderful questions about what's going on, so they can get good information. you know, so many times it's in the rumor mill, and the rumor mill is not always the most accurate.
Yeah.
So if we can give students good information, they can make good decisions, and it helps our community. And Nick is just an entertainer.
Yeah.
So he's got lots of energy. I'm real proud of his show.
Oh, well, me too. And I know I'm very appreciative to have you on the show because it's kind of like an ambassador between the institution and the students. So that's real great.
This is my own face to nation.
Yeah,
Meet the
exactly.
press.
Exactly, with Dean Campbell. So now commencement is coming up. Anything new with that? Do we have any kind of announcements or any kind of preparation?
There's a lot of preparations
Yeah.
going on. I know they just met to look at the commencement speaker for the student speaker. They're looking at, we're waiting to hear back from our commencement speaker that we're going to have for both the undergraduate and the graduate things, but lots and lots of stuff going on.
Wow, I bet.
Seniors are getting excited. It's always a fun time because they, you know, it's a culmination of all their success, and parents love it and come back. So it's a fun day, you know.
Oh, great.
And we're looking for it. But it's a lot of planning goes into it. Bev Braddock, who runs and coordinates the whole thing out of the president's office, and she works very, very hard. She starts the day after commencement. She starts planning for the next year. So
Busy
it's
job.
a busy time. We'll have over 10,000 people on campus for that.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that would be huge. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week, and we want to thank you so much again for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And we had a wonderful time, as always. So make sure you tune in once again for our newest episode of Candid Campbell. Thank you, guys.